a big black man who's been a big black man for as long as I've been a man. I'm fucking tired of it. Smile more, Tim. People are afraid. Don't talk so stern, Tim. People are scared of you. Hey, Tim, I know this guy said a lot of shit about you, but you're not going to beat him up, are you? That's for people on the left. So it's all racist-ass tropes. Do you think he would be saying that if we were talking about a 5'10" white guy? I don't think he would, Johnson. The problem is in America that plays very well, even if it's bullshit. Now, this is the funnest part of tonight. This will be where the narrative of the defense is to try to get George Floyd, it's to get this officer to agree to something that's impossible to agree with. Let the tape show it.
I'd like to publish part of the body-worn camera, it's Officer King's body-worn camera, starting at 20:21:01. Yes. I'd like you to see if you can tell me what Mr. Floyd says in this instance. Hear what he said? Does it sound like he says, I ate too many drugs? Listen again. So in the chaos of the situation, things can be missed, right?
Yes.
You would agree that at one point during the exchange, Mr. Floyd was advised that he was under arrest, right?
Yes.
In fact, that happened a couple of times, right?
Yes.
Now, at the point they have Mr. Floyd on the ground, you would agree and you're aware that officers called for EMS, right?
Yes.
It's reasonable for an officer to call EMS, right?
Yes.
If there is an injury, right? Or some need.
Or a complaint of injury or some discomfort or medical emergency. Yes.
And you understand that in this particular instance, very shortly after Mr. Floyd was on the ground, officers called for EMS.
Yes.
They called for
initially for his injury to his head.
To his face, so mouth injury, right? And they called it called EMS in a non-emergent situation, right?
Correct.
And that happened at 8:19 and 49 seconds. Code to EMS for a mouth injury, right?
Yes.
And this occurred at the point when officers were discussing whether or not to use the hobble restraint on Mr. Floyd, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, officers did not use the hobble restraint, right?
Correct.
A hobble restraint would generally require officers to consider calling EMS, right? According to Minneapolis Police Department policy.
Minneapolis.
And maybe different in other jurisdictions, right?
Correct.
So as officers are discussing and ultimately they decide, you agree, that they decide not to use the hobble device.
Yes, they did not use the hobble device.
And we talked a little bit earlier about the de-escalation component of things, right? A decision to use or to not use a higher form of force that you may have been authorized to use can actually be a de-escalation technique. Agreed?
In certain instances, yes.
So So officers making a decision not to increase the level of force can be viewed as a de-escalation technique.
Yes.
Now, again, we've talked a lot about the need for reassessment and kind of things as they reassessment, and officers need to continue to